Hey YouTube, Joe Walker here, Def Digits Guitar Lessons, and I'm doing a lesson for my student Bernhard right now. He is learning Cissy Strut, and he's learning how to solo over it and different ways of improvising on it. And you can basically use a blend of C minor pentatonic and C major pentatonic on this song. So I thought I would go through a lesson on shifting that minor pentatonic scale up and down on the top two strings. So Bernhard already knows the 5 fundamental shapes of the minor pentatonic scale, so make sure you know those already. That'll be very helpful for this. Not totally required though. So let me show you what we're doing here and how to find these different places and how to transition between them. So we want C. We're gonna stick with C minor pentatonic just on this time without blending in the major pentatonic. So just minor pentatonic. We want to know where all these C roots are. And we're only going to be playing notes on the top 2 strings. So it'd be helpful if we know where the roots are, at least on the top 2 strings, and then any other places where it might be helpful. So C right there, that's your first one on the B string, 1st fret. The other root we have on the top 2 strings is 8th fret on the high E string, and then we can duplicate that one from the 1st fret up on the 13th fret, an octave higher on the B string. So those are the primary ones we really have to keep in mind. If we're anywhere close to those, we have to keep track of those roots so that we know how to play the notes around them and we know how to anchor the shapes that we know from the minor pentatonic scales. So the other ones that would be helpful might be thinking of the low roots on the A string and the E string. These are the ones that people tend to know the best. It's C right there, 8th fret, low E string, and C right there, 3rd fret on the A string. So if you keep those 2 in mind, that might give you the shape of this one. This is the best known minor pentatonic shape. When you go straight up from the root down there, that will give you those 4 notes on the top. If you can imagine that whole position and you're just playing on those top strings and you arrive to it from somewhere else, you can envision those 4 notes on the top before you play any of them. And then you can select notes from it before having to fish through the entire scale. Ditto over here, if you're thinking of this root on the A string, you might be able to envision the rest of that scale. So if you can envision that, you've got these 4 notes on the top. Fret 4, 6, 3, 6. That's the only group of 4 notes we're going to play on the top 2 strings that does not include the root somewhere within those 4 notes. So that one's important here to know that that's C on the A string, therefore these 4 notes are in the minor pentatonic. So let's look at the rest of them now. The rest of them, as I said, will all contain the root C, so they're a little bit easier to anchor. So starting from this C down here, 1st fret on the B string, we get fret 1 and 4, and then 1 and 3. Next position we've got, as I said, fret 4, 6, 3, 6. The next one we go up, we're going to anchor with this root here on the 8th fret of the high E string. And these 4 notes are fret 6, 8, 6, 8. Then we're going to move up to the next position off of the same root anchor. We've got those 4, fret 8, 11, 8, 11. Then when we go up the next position, our new C root is right there on the 13th fret. So we have to keep track of those to know how to move between the different positions. So this one, we've got fret 11, 13, 11, 13. We go up to the next one. We're still building off of that same root, but now going higher than it. And then now we're past the 12th fret, so we can duplicate the shape that we had down here. When we did this, we can do it again up here. Fret 13, 16, 13, 15. And we can keep going, duplicating the same shapes from lower 12 frets higher, as high as your guitar will allow you to go. For now, I'm just going to go up to this one without duplicating any more beyond that. So let's review those again. We've got this, 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 those are the 6 little shapes we're going to be working with as we do this. So what I want you to do in the context of Cissy Strut, first think of how it's going in your head. So you get that groove going, boom, 2, 3, 4, and just try improvising in the context of C minor pentatonic using these little shapes. When you're in one shape, just for a couple measures, don't allow yourself to play any notes outside that shape. Just try to work those 4 notes and try to milk something out of them that sounds musical. So one, I'll demonstrate on all 6 of these shapes right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now going to the next one. Next one. Next. 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 So that's the first exercise you can do, is just isolate each one of those little places and try to make something musical out of them. Even if you're not listening to the song, you're not in the backing track or anything, it's just keep the beat going and try to work those little shapes. And it takes you a little bit out of the context of thinking in terms of the entire minor pentatonic shape, and all of your ideas are just going straight up and down through the whole scale. When you're just limited to 4 notes, then that idea of going up and down through those 4 notes is exhausted like that, and you have to come up with other things. So you zoom in on each of those sets of 4 notes, then you practice moving between them. So I'm going to put a backing track on now, and I'm going to do a process where I'm spending a little bit of time on each one, just like I just did, but I'm going to spend less and less time on each one so that I'm transitioning more often as time goes on. Here comes the backing track. Again, I'm going to focus on each one, and then I will be jumping around between them more often. 3, 4. Okay, finally played a note outside that scale. So what I was trying to do there the whole time was stick to those little patterns and just play musical ideas within each one at first, and then start to transfer those ideas between them. So if I played something like over on one shape, I can take that same idea and move it over to the next 4 notes. And then the next 4 notes. And the next 4. So that was, I started with within each shape trying to be musical, and then trying to transfer ideas between them so they weren't totally isolated anymore. I can do the next one in the context of the previous one, the next one in the context of the previous one. And then finally, I tried to just blend everything so that I was doing my musical lines, like executing the musical ideas, independent of where I was between them. So I was just trying to move around between them more often. So that will be your job on these, is learn the shapes individually and try to go through the same process I just did, but it will be elongated. I truncated it down very quickly, but it's a long process of learning them, be musical on them, transfer between them, and then be able to slide between them effortlessly. It takes a long time, but it will go pretty much in that order the way I just did it. So that's all I got for you today. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. Let me know how you like it in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.